People are not like that on the inside, despite how they may appear. Every person has a dark side and a light side. The way people exhibit themselves to others is their light side. And people's dark sides are those that they keep to themselves. And according to Carl Jung, the dark and wicked aspect of ourselves that is hidden within us is known as our shadow. The shadow, a symbol created by Carl Jung, stands for the dark aspect of every person's psyche. The shadow is made up of a person's unacceptable, hidden psychological traits that are stored away in secret regions of their psyche. Shadow is the personality's darker side. It's the archetype that retains basic animal instincts. The shadow contains actions that the public views as unethical and evil. In order to avoid being punished by society, we must control, suppress, and defend against these instinctual urges. Carl Jung said, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is." If inferiority is conscious, one always has a chance to correct it. But if it is repressed and isolated from consciousness, it never gets corrected and is liable to burst forth suddenly in a moment of unawareness. At all counts, it forms an unconscious snag, thwarting our most well-meant intentions. Quote, "Since the shadow is a source of life, spontaneity, creativity, and emotion, the psyche would become lifeless and dull if the shadow is completely eradicated. The aspect of your personality that you have suppressed since birth is known as your shadow. Because it's so challenging to accept, the shadow frequently goes unnoticed. It's likely that you've suppressed aspects of yourself that you find unpleasant if you're having trouble understanding why you act in particular ways. As you grew, you learned to reject aspects of yourself in order to blend with society. However, it's crucial to understand that the more you repress your shadow, the more difficult it will be for you to access it. It gets bigger the more you try to ignore it. We were born with all the attributes that make us human. The culture and society, however, later educate us which human traits are desirable or acceptable and which ones are terrible or unsuitable. Additionally, you still carry inside you traits that are considered inappropriate by society. You never exhibit these traits since they are wrong or unaccepted by society. And you only demonstrated to others the positive or acceptable aspects of what you were doing. And the part of you that is hidden and that you haven't been paying attention to for years becomes your shadow. It never progresses. It is stored inside of you. And it manifests itself in our weakest area or circumstance in life. So, we notice a sudden, significant change in people. Or perhaps you've regretted hurting someone or making a mistake at any point in your life. Our culture is a process of civilization in which we try to be civilized while hiding our animalistic tendencies. We effortlessly accept all of our positive traits and behaviors. However, we refuse to accept the negative traits. Therefore, the negative traits are kept in reserve and change into an energy form known as the shadow self. And those traits or components that the society accepts become the ego self. Our identity may completely change if the shadow gathers more vitality than the ego. According to Jung, the ego, the personal unconscious, and the collective unconscious make up the human psyche. According to Jung, there are 12 unique typical human traits and flaws that emerged from our collective unconscious. He designated them as archetypes. These 12 archetypes include the shadow self. Shadow simply refers to the unconscious aspects of the personality. When we refer to something as unconscious, we indicate that it exists but is not consciously felt by us. The dark side of us is symbolized by shadow. It's not all horrible with the darkness. Contrarily, it's really helpful to be aware of because the shadow frequently serves as the basis of our original thoughts and discoveries. For example, if you're having issues at work, it's possible that you're holding back sentiments of resentment or hostility against someone else. It's likely that you're repressing fears about something if you're feeling anxious. And if you find it difficult to get along with people, your fear of rejection can be to blame. These are only a few instances of how the shadow could appear in our daily life. The key idea is that the shadow isn't always bad. It's just a facet of who we are that we've decided to ignore. Since the beginning of time, people have portrayed man as having two sides: good and evil and light and dark. And we still see the good and the bad in others. No matter how much we may attempt to deny the bad, we see both the best and the worst in ourselves. Just keep in mind that these two portions aren't exclusive of one another. Together, they coexist. They are one. They are identical and interchangeable. This idea has long been a cornerstone of spiritual and psychological teachings. The concept of yin and yang in ancient Chinese philosophy emphasizes how two opposing and seemingly incompatible elements are interrelated. They can only work as a unit to form the entire. The two are connected and dependent on one another. There is a popular technique to deal with our shadow self which is called shadow work. The goal of shadow work is to reveal the aspects of yourself that you suppress and keep hidden from yourself by working with your unconscious mind. Trauma or aspects of your personality that you unconsciously find unattractive can fall under this category. Anyone can perform independent shadow work. Your shadow is not a shortcoming or a fault. Rather, it is an inherent aspect of who you are. The main goal of shadow work is to increase self-awareness, which leads to self-acceptance and compassion. You can perceive the various aspects of yourself through shadow work, which is frequently both therapy and more spiritual in nature. Shadow work is about admitting the existence of shadows and becoming curious about studying them for people who have been particularly successful at ignoring their shadow. Perhaps because it differs too much from your own self-perception or preferred impression. You can begin to understand how your ideas and emotions affect your actions by acknowledging your shadow self. Knowing this gives you the power to take charge of your life and empowers you to lead a more purposeful and conscious existence. You can start presenting as who you truly are. That's all for today's video. If you want me to make a detailed video on how to practice shadow work effectively, then comment down below. If you liked my effort, please hit the like button and do subscribe to this channel. Thanks.